So Angus Cloud has just faked his death. So today I'm going to be exposing the scripting of his entire fake death. And then I'm also going to be exposing all of his characters. So let's get right into it. First person we're going to talk about is Mac Miller. As you guys can see by the side-by-side comparison, Angus Cloud looks so much like Mac Miller right here because Angus Cloud's character is based off of Mac Miller. And don't you guys find it weird that Mac Miller faked his death in 2018 and then Angus Cloud gets famous a few years later? So these two characters have so many similarities. As you guys can see right here, they're both wearing a bucket hat, and Mac Miller is known for always wearing these type of hats. And right here you guys can see that they're doing the same hand gesture in both of these pictures. This one is very easy to see. A lot of you guys have been telling me about this one for years. And if you've been watching my channel for the last couple years, you should remember that I did a video about this 2 years ago in 2021. This video is called Mac Miller is Sam Smith. And in this video, I exposed all of Mac Miller's characters. So if you guys are interested in that video, there's a link to this video in the description. And I bring this up because I mentioned Angus Cloud in this video, right? As you guys can see, I was showing a comparison right here of Angus Cloud and Mac Miller in the middle of the video. And I uploaded this video on September 28th, 2021, right? So 4 months later, Angus Cloud responded and I didn't even know until now. So as you guys can see, 4 months later on January 10th, 2022, Angus Cloud did an interview and he says he won't star as Mac Miller in a biopic. And he said, no, I don't think so. Taking on someone's whole life and becoming that person, like how much respect you have to give them to actually try to portray them, you know? And then he said he doesn't think he would be prepared to take on someone's life and legacy and try to replay them. And then he said, that man is a legend and he's going to remain one. May he rest in peace. So what are the chances that 4 months after I exposed Angus Cloud for being Mac Miller, he does this interview talking about how he doesn't want to play him in a biopic? So in my opinion, he's literally admitting it in plain sight right here. The fact that he's even talking about his other character, Mac Miller, and the conversation is about him playing his other character. So they're admitting it in plain sight. You know, even though he said he didn't want to play him, this is still them admitting it because they're putting it right in our face that these two characters are the same. And if you haven't noticed, 9 times out of 10, they never get one of their characters to play them in a movie because then it would be too obvious. Another similarity with these two characters is their symbolism. So right here, Angus Cloud is doing the vow of silence and Mac Miller is doing the same symbolism right here. Now let's get into the numerical connections between Angus Cloud and Mac Miller. So Angus Cloud was born in 1998 and Mac equals 98 in gematria. And Mac Miller faked his death in California, and Angus Cloud also faked his death in California. Mac Miller's cause of death was an OD, and right now they're saying that Angus Cloud possibly died from an OD. And the ironic thing about all of this is that Angus Cloud literally played a drug dealer in Euphoria, and now they're saying that he died from an OD, just like Mac Miller. So this is a lot of connections. I think the biggest mockery with this one is the fact that his name is Cloud, Angus Cloud. And usually when somebody dies, they make pictures of them in the clouds. As you can see, there's many pictures of Mac Miller in the clouds. And now his other character, Angus Cloud, is dead, just like this character. So another similarity is Mac Miller's date of death, because Mac Miller faked his death on September 7th. And Angus Cloud faked his death on the 7th month, which is July. And he was also born on the 7th month, which is July. So these two characters also have the same gematria. As you can see, Mac Miller equals 41 and Angus Cloud is also 41. And then they both equal 36 as well. And at the time of Angus Cloud's death, he has 85 posts on Instagram. And Mac Miller equals 58, which is 85 reversed. The biggest connection between Mac Miller and Angus Cloud is the people that they're around. So Mac Miller dated Ariana Grande, right? And Mac Miller's other character is Angus Cloud. And Angus Cloud is on this show Euphoria with this girl Alexa Demi, who is one of Ariana Grande's characters. So as you guys can see, Devon Sade made a really good video about this. And she showed this comparison of Ariana Grande and Alexa Demi. And they look exactly alike. So if you guys want more information about that, go watch her video. I'll put a link to this video in the description. because this was a really good video and she showed more things that I'm not going to show in this video. Another obvious connection, Angus Cloud died at age 25 and Mac Miller died at age 26. So these two characters basically were around for the same amount of years. They only died 1 year apart. And on top of that, Mac Miller died at 26 and Angus equals 26 and Cloud also equals 26. So this is a direct connection. And Killed equals 26 and Oakland, California also equals 26. And Angus Cloud died in Oakland, California. And then dies equals 26 and pass is also 26. And even his stage name, Mac Miller, equals 26. So this is not a coincidence. You know, what are the chances that Angus and Cloud equal 26? Just like dies and killed. And he died at age 26. Now let's talk about the number 25, because there's a lot of connections with that. So Angus died at age 25. Mac Miller equals 25. And Sam Smith equals 25. And he's another one of their characters. So let's get into that. As you guys can see, Mac Miller and Sam Smith look exactly alike right here. The resemblance is uncanny. These two characters are so much alike. It's actually ridiculous. And in my thumbnail of the video that I made about this, I showed these two pictures because they're both posing the same exact way in these photo shoots. They both have their hand on their chest. So here's another comparison of Mac Miller and Sam Smith. When Sam Smith was skinny, he really looked more like Mac Miller. But even now that he's fat again, he still looks exactly like Mac Miller. Right here you can see that they have the same smile as well. And there's so many memes about this. This one says Sam Smith is like Mac Miller but without the tattoos. So yeah, this one is very obvious. Another connection is their names. Mac and Sam are 3 letters. And notice how Mac starts with M-A and Sam ends with A-M. So their names are very similar. And once again, Ariana Grande is another connection. So Mac Miller dated Ariana Grande. And as you guys can see, they're doing the vow of silence right here. But the connection here is that Mac Miller dated Ariana Grande. And here's a video of Sam Smith talking about how he loves Ariana Grande.
Love that song, by the way, that Ariana tune. That's what I was doing in my year off.
So Sam Smith is not straight. You know, he's pushing that fruity agenda in the media. He got married to a man in September of 2017, right? And the connection here is that Mac Miller died in September 7th. So Sam Smith was married in September and Mac Miller died in September. And then Mac Miller's birthday is January 19, 1992. And Sam Smith's birthday is May 19th in 1992. So these two characters were both born on the 19th and they were both born in 1992. So that's a huge connection. What are the chances that Sam Smith is born exactly 4 months after Mac Miller? And they even have the same gematria. Sam Smith equals 25, just like Mac Miller. And this is the biggest connection between them three because Angus died at age 25. So now let's get into the connections between Angus Cloud and Sam Smith. So Angus Cloud died on July 31st, right? And right now, at the time of Angus Cloud's death, Sam Smith is 31 years old. And here's a side-by-side comparison of Sam Smith and Angus Cloud. And notice how similar these photo shoots are. They're both doing one-eye symbolism. And here's another good comparison as well. And again, Angus Cloud is doing one-eye symbolism. These two characters are also very connected in gematria. Sam Smith and Angus Cloud have the same gematria of 577 in the Fibonacci cipher. And then Sam Smith equals 51, just like Angus Cloud. So now let's talk about their base character, which is George Michael. This comparison right here is undeniable. They look exactly alike. And this one as well. They even have their hair in a similar way. So you can really see this one. And they have the same gematria as well. George Michael is 104. And Sam Smith also equals 104. And these two characters were also born in London, United Kingdom. As you can see, George Michael is from London, United Kingdom. And Sam Smith was also born in London, United Kingdom. And Sam Smith puts it right in our face that his character is based off of George Michael. He's always posting about him and he's always talking about him. So on his recent birthday, Sam Smith posted him and he said, "Happy birthday to the greatest. It's George Michael's 60th and Pride. What a day." So he loves talking about his base character. You know, they tend to do this a lot to let us know in plain sight who their other character is. And here's another tweet that he made about George Michael in 2017. And he's talking about how somebody destroyed a mural of George Michael. And then in 2017, he also tweeted about George Michael again. And he said he's excited to watch George Michael's documentary. And then in 2017, he also did a cover for George Michael's song Father Figure. So that's a huge connection right there. Here's an interview where Sam Smith is talking about how much he loves George Michael.
I know that George Michael was someone you looked up to as a queer artist.
Yeah. And I remember just sitting there and watching his interviews and watching the way he held himself. He's such a huge inspiration to me to this day.
Those two are very easy to compare because they have a similar career. You know, in that video, he was talking about how George Michael was one of the first celebrities to really push the inverted agenda. So now let's get into some connections between George Michael, Mac Miller, and Angus Cloud. So George Michael's cousin says that George Michael actually died from an OD. As you can see, he lists all of these substances that George Michael was doing before he died. And of course, Mac Miller also died from an OD. And right now they're saying that Angus Cloud also died from an OD. So what are the chances that all three of these characters are addicted to these substances and end up dying from it? And keep in mind, this is all fake. Celebrities don't actually take this many substances. This is just their story for their character. And clearly all three of these characters are pushing the same agenda with these substances, especially Angus Cloud because he's literally a drug dealer in the show that he's in. So Angus Cloud and George Michael are also connected in gematria. They both equal 54 and 117. Another connection between them is the fact that Angus died at age 25 and George Michael was born on the 25th of June. And he also died on the 25th of December. So what are the chances that he's born on the 25th, he dies on the 25th, and his other character dies at age 25? And on top of that, George Michael died on Christmas of 2016 because December 25th is Christmas. And this is mockery because one of his biggest songs is called Last Christmas, and then he dies on Christmas. Come on now. And to get even deeper with this, Sam Smith has a song called Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, and he also has another song called Night Before Christmas. So that's a direct connection. And George Michael's death was very scripted. As you can see, he died at age 53, and George Michael equals 53 in gematria. So now let's talk about two other characters that George Michael has. And I'm not going to go too deep into these, but as you guys can see, Shane Dawson is another one of George Michael's characters. And I'm not surprised because Shane Dawson pushes the same agenda as George Michael and Sam Smith. They all have boyfriends and they push that same inverted agenda. Another one of their characters is Kirk from Gilmore Girls. His real name is Sean Gunn, and he was also in Guardians of the Galaxy. So many people noticed how much they look alike. This person said, I'm pretty sure Sam Smith is actually just Kirk from Gilmore Girls working at another job. And here's some more comparisons between Sean Gunn and Sam Smith. These two look exactly alike right here, and they also have the same gematria. Sean Gunn and Sam Smith both equal 33. And here's an interview where they're showing Sean Gunn's most popular searches. And one of the most popular searches is that Sean Gunn looks like Sam Smith. And notice how they just laugh it off.
Sean Gunn looks like Sam Smith.
I told you. I told you.
Since Sean Gunn is one of their characters, I'm not surprised that his name matches with Mac Miller and Angus Cloud. So right here you can see that Mac Miller and Sean Gunn have the same gematria in 4 ciphers. And then Angus Cloud equals 141, just like Sean Gunn in the same cipher. Now let's get into the scripting of Angus Cloud's fake death. So first thing I want to point out is this TMZ article, because for some reason TMZ loves posting a death faker at a certain time that is connected with death. So as you can see, they posted this at 2:38 p.m. And they do this on purpose, keep that in mind, because fake death equals 38. And notice how Angus Cloud and fake death both equal 38 in the same cipher. And Kill and Angus have the same gematria as well. They both equal 17 and 28. in the same ciphers. So Angus Cloud has 85 posts at the time of his death on Instagram. Script equals 85, and Freemasonry ritual equals 85, and Oakland equals 85, and he faked his death in Oakland, California. And he faked his death on a Monday, which is Moon Day, and of course on this night there was a full moon, and it was not just a regular full moon, it was a blue supermoon. If you haven't noticed, all of their energy harvest rituals that they do are connected to the moon and Saturn, and in this case it's completely connected to the moon. So this character died on July 31st, 2023, which was a Monday, and Monday equals 98 in Gematria, and this character was born in 1998. They always do rituals in plain sight, and it's a big joke because they put so many riddles in the media every time they do this. So Angus Cloud died on July 31st, 2023, right? So what are the chances that on this same day, all these articles are coming out about a guy named Magnus White who died at age 17? And look at the riddle here. His name is Magnus, and this other character's name is Angus, and he dies on the same day that they're posting this. And the word Angus is scrambled in Magnus. You know, if you take out the M and move the N to the left, you get Angus. And then his last name is White, and Angus's last name is Cloud, and clouds are white. So there's just a big riddle going on here. You know, another connection is that Magnus White was a rising star for USA Cycling. And right now in the media, they're saying that Angus Cloud was also a rising star because he just got his first show. So this is all a joke. You know, if you can't see the riddles behind this, then you're being deceived and laughed at, because the only people sad by this stuff are people that are oblivious to the clues that they leave us in front of our face. So Angus Cloud's first show was Euphoria, and the writer and director of this show was Sam Levinson. And I just noticed this right now. What are the chances that the director of this show is called Sam, and another one of Angus Cloud's characters is Sam Smith? It's funny because I just noticed that right now. But anyways, the director and the writer of Angus Cloud's show is Sam Levinson. And at the time of Angus Cloud's death, Sam Levinson is 38 years old. And as you guys know, fake death equals 38. And the numerology of the date that Angus Cloud died is 38. As you can see, he died on July 31st. 7 plus 31 is 38. Notice how the director of Euphoria was born in 1985, and Angus Cloud had 85 posts when he died. And Sam Levinson was born on January 8th. And when you write out January 8th in numerical format, it's 1/8, which is basically 18, and die equals 18. And the full numerology of Angus Cloud's date of death is 18. And another 18 is the date of his last post on Instagram. So this is his last post on Instagram before he faked his death. So in the caption, he's promoting these 18K white gold grills. So there's the number 18. And this post was on July 18th. And on August 1st, which is 18 reversed, TMZ posted this article and they said Angus Cloud dad died after cancer spread quickly before the actor's death. Angus Cloud's dad dies a few months before Angus Cloud dies. And he died from cancer, and we just got out of cancer season. So there's so many connections here. Another connection with the number 18 is the fact that his dad died on May 18th. Which means that Angus Cloud died exactly 74 days after his father, and killing is 74. And at the time of his death, Angus Cloud has 7.4 million followers, which is 74. And like I said in my previous video, their followers are scripted. They can move them up or down to fit whatever number that they need for the ritual. And another connection with the number 74 is their other character, Sean Gunn, who was born in 1974. And now let's connect this to the previous death faker, which was Gillie the Kid's son, YNG Cheese, that I just talked about in my recent video. When he died, he has 74 posts at the time of his death. And his dad is Gillie the King, which equals 74. And his real name is Nazir, which also equals 74. Now let's talk about the number 606. because Angus Cloud is currently following 606 people. Rest Easy Angel equals 606 in the Satanic Cypher, and a lot of people were saying this phrase when he died, and they say this all the time when a celebrity dies. This number is clearly connected to death because Philadelphia equals 606, and YNG Cheese just died in Philadelphia, and Gangsta Boo also equals 606, and she's a death faker as well. And if you guys want more information about Gangsta Boo, I made a video about her 4 months ago. I'll put a link to that video in the description because she's another one of Lil Yachty's characters. And most of the video was about GloRilla, but in the middle of the video I started exposing Gangsta Boo because GloRilla admitted that Gangsta Boo is alive. Now let's talk about this OD word. They're claiming that he died from an OD, right? And this OD phrase equals 63, and Angus Cloud equals 36 in the same cipher, and 63 is 36 reversed. And then Angus Cloud equals 153, and his cause of death is also 153. And then Angus Cloud equals 117, and his cause of death is 171. And if you switch the 7 and the 1, you get 117. And this character's death is very connected to Gillie the Kid and his son's death because these two rituals are happening around the same time. So Angus Cloud equals 153 in the same cipher as Gillie the Kid's real name, which is Nazir Fard. And then notice how the Bible, Holy Bible, and Jesuit Order also equal 153 in the same cipher as well, because the Jesuit Order is one of their cults and they wrote the Bible, so of course everything that they're a part of is going to be connected to the same numbers. And Angus Cloud's death is connected to YNG Cheese, so I'm not surprised that Angus Cloud equals 117, just like Cheese. Alright, so now let's talk about the number 25 a little bit deeper. So Angus Cloud was on Euphoria, and Euphoria is a show on HBO, and HBO equals 25 just like death, and Angus Cloud faked his death at age 25, and YNG Cheese was also 25, so this is a direct connection. And his dad is Gillie the Kid, and his real name is Nazir, and Nazir equals 25, and then his last name Fard is also 25 in the same cipher as death. And last but not least, Paul Rubens, aka Pee Wee Herman, recently faked his death, and he's also connected to this as well. He faked his death at age 70, and Gillie the Kid equals 70. And the numerology of Gillie the Kid's son's date of death is also 70. So now that I exposed all of these characters that are a part of the same group, I want to go more deeper into Mac Miller's fake death because his death was completely scripted. But first I want to show you guys some more connections between Sam Smith and Mac Miller. So first thing I want to point out is his last post on Instagram was him doing a triangle with his fingers, and he's doing one eye symbolism as well. And as you can see, Sam Smith is also doing one eye symbolism. So this is the album cover for Mac Miller's last album before he died. And notice how the color scheme here is pink, white, and blue, just like the inverted flag. And this is a big connection to Sam Smith because Sam Smith loves pushing that inverted agenda. You know, I'm not going to go too deep into these weird things that he does, but you guys can easily tell that he's pushing this inverted agenda. And this character is just a joke, man. His character was created to push an agenda but also make fun of people who take this serious. Because right here, he's dressed up like a clown. You know, this is clearly a joke. Like, he's letting us know that he's a character. So now let's get into the scripting of Mac Miller's death. As you guys can see, Mac Miller and Death Hoax have the same gematria in 3 ciphers. They both equal 86, 41, and 157. And then Kill and Mac both equal 64, 384, 127, and 90 in the same ciphers. And then Kill equals 44, just like Mac. And Kill equals 17, just like Mac as well. So clearly when they created Mac Miller's character, his name was generated to be scripted with death because this character was created to be a death faker. And he put it in our face because the last music video that he posted before he died was self-care. And notice in the very beginning, he's in a coffin and he's trying to get out. And then at the very end of the video, he gets out, which is symbolizing that his death was not real. And while he's in the coffin, he carved a circle and he wrote Memento Mori. And Memento Mori is a Latin word that means remember you must die. So he put it right in our face. He writes this phrase that means remember you must die, and he's in a coffin, and then he dies shortly after this video. And Mac Miller did so much predictive programming. This is not the only time. He also did it in older videos. So in this music video, he said he don't care about tomorrow because he could die today.
Give a f about tomorrow if I die today.
And then in this music video called Diablo, which is devil in Spanish, notice he's doing one eye symbolism the same way that he did in his last Instagram post before he died. And in this clip, he says, "Come and die with me."
Come and die with me.
And I think the biggest predictive programming was this interview that he did, because Charlamagne is asking him if he's still doing drugs. And Mac Miller stutters, but he says that he's not doing that no more. And if you listen closely in the background, Charlamagne says, "We don't want you to die from a drug overdose." So he slipped that in there, and most people won't notice that he said that because Mac Miller is like talking over him when he does it. But if you listen closely, you can hear it. So check this out.
Okay. So are you sober, sir?
Yeah,
he's having a drink right now. What are you talking about?
Not that. I'm talking about drugs. You know?
Oh yeah, no. I mean, yeah.
No. Or
Don't
yeah.
lie to us, Mac.
Yes.
And
No,
die from an overdose next month.
No. I'm good. I'm really good.
I'll play it for you guys one more time in case you didn't hear it.
Die from an overdose next month.
No. I'm good. I'm
So Charlamagne put it right in our face right there. They love doing predictive programming so that when it happens, people are already programmed with that idea, so they accept it. It's a form of mind control. And here's another music video where he said, "Death is ridiculous," and then he says he's never gonna die because legends live forever.
Death, that's ridiculous. I'ma live forever cause the legend never died.
And then he has this other music video where he's sitting on this couch, and notice in the background he has a picture of Marilyn Monroe, and she faked her death. So this was predictive programming that he was going to be a death faker as well. And then notice how right behind him it says "I'm not real" in red, and there's arrows pointing at him. So he's letting us know in plain sight, he's admitting that he's not real. This is why I keep telling you guys, celebrities are not real people. They're not real humans at all. They tell us so many times in our face. Here's a music video where he says he's not human.
I'm not a human, I'm amphibian. Fake superhero.
So in this music video, he says he's with Freemasons. And I'm not surprised because Mac Miller equals 58, just like Freemasonry. Check this out.
I'm freebasing with Freemasons.
So he said he's freebasing with Freemasons. So thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to drop a like, share, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Follow me on Instagram and subscribe to my Patreon. The links are in the description below. I'm doing calls with my Patreon subscribers, so if you guys are interested in that, you can message me on Patreon and we can schedule a call. Thank you guys so much for your support. And last clip I want to show you guys is a video where he's talking about the Illuminati.
One of the number one things I see all the time is
Illuminati.
yes, what the that?
Well, it all started when I was 12. It's like, you thought you were about to get the breaking in it.
I was like,
I got it. Mac Miller admits Illuminati connection. You know, I'm not in the Illuminati. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. I don't know if it's real or if it's not. Who knows, man? Who knows about all these conspiracies in the world, man? They all could be real. They all could be fake. You just gotta keep living. But it's funny to see those comments at some shows. I've seen some kids in the crowd like throwing up the Illuminati sign, and like I just am like, what do they want me to do? Like, you, Illuminati member, get him. Nah, man, I'm just, you know, me. You want to talk about Illuminati? Y'all are the Illuminati.